how it feels. Cover it up, you like to play your own game. Cover it up, don't let them know what you're thinking. I bet you never tell them how it feels, how it feels.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Monday. First of all, that makes us so fly. I was out here like, yes. Anyways, let's get started. I'm super excited for the first week of our Traders Bootcamp. First of all, how's everybody doing tonight? Drop it in the chat if you're doing great, if you're doing good, if you're doing amazing, if you're doing not so good. Lie to me and tell me you're doing amazing. Drop it in the chat. Let's see responses from every single person. Perfect, blessed, amazing, grateful, great, excellent. I love it. I love it. I love it. Good. All right. Awesome. So tonight it is week 1 of our Traders Bootcamp. Now, know this. There's a few things that we will be covering that'll apply for all trading styles. HFX, FRX, DCX, all trading styles. Tonight in specific is gonna do primarily with preparing to win. In specific, we just began this new quarter 2. And if you were on my sessions last week, some of you weren't, but if you were not on my sessions last week, I encouraged a lot of people to review quarter 1 to see what trades they took, the trades that they won, the trades that they lost, how much their accounts grew, how much their accounts decreased. And it is literally all feedback. It is all just feedback information for us to do better. It is all feedback information for us to just get more equipped to win. So with that said, I realized that a lot of people didn't even know how to review their last quarter. They didn't know how to track their progress besides seeing their account was January 1st, it was maybe at like $300 and then it was at like $2, or it was at $100 and then it got to $600. But either way, winning or losing isn't enough feedback for you to become a better trader. Like you seeing if your account grew this amount, but then it dropping that amount isn't enough for you to become a better profitable trader. So tonight in specific, we're gonna be focusing on creating a proper trading plan and trading journal. Because if you don't get specific as to what it is that you want to create, you will probably not be able to create it. If you don't get specific as to what you're good with or what you're not so good with, you'll probably never grow. So what I offer up for all of you guys on this session, whether you are new, whether you have been around for a minute, whether you are finally mentoring other people, take notes, not just for yourself, but also for in the future, you'll be able to help out the next person. Yes? So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. And if you can see my screen, hear my voice, drop me a 111 in the chat. See my screen, hear my voice, see my face. Perfect. So session 1, your trading plan. A trading plan is an organized approach a trader has when executing a trading system. Keyword, organized. Organized. What I strongly encourage you to do is to not just get organized with your day-to-day schedule, but also with how you're approaching the markets. What I offer up is for the remaining of the session, especially, in my humble opinion, is that we are all still students. You could be making money, yes, but there's always a new level to uncover. Maybe you had a great winning streak and then you started losing. That was me like 2 weeks ago. I was like, why am I losing? And I was like, so thankful that I had my trading journal to reflect as to what I was doing differently, what I wasn't doing, what trades I was taking that weren't clearing as often as my previous clearing trades, that you want to get organized. You want to get super, super organized. Reason being is because when you're organized, you know exactly what to do when you're trading. You know what you're looking for, how you'll be trading, and how you'll be engaging in the market. For example, like what you're looking for, what kind of setup, your entries, your confirmations. You know what you're looking for because if you follow a trading plan consistently, you'll be able to see what works best for you. You'll be able to see which educators work best for you. You'll be able to see which trading sessions work best for you. So you want to get clear as to what your trading plan is. Now, these next two things, they sound kind of similar. How you will be trading, how you will be engaging in the market. Number two, it's mostly about your approach with trading. Is it technical, sentimental, fundamental? Are you a price action trader? Are you a indicators based trader? Are you a happy medium of both? Lastly, it's mostly about mindset, which I'll get into later. But when you are considering creating your trading plan, you want to keep these three things into account. That way, you're taking the trades that make the most sense for you, right? Now, getting into the mindset. Now, these are things that I've personally have implemented. And I promise you, usually whenever I break one of these things, I usually lose or I'm more stressed out with my trades because I'm not thinking clearly. Whenever I trade, I have to remind myself that it is mostly my mind. It is 90% mental, 10% technical. By that I mean is if you're not in the mood to trade, if you're overly emotional, if you're stressed, if you're like, oh my God, I have to pay my rent in 2 days and I don't know how I'm gonna pay my rent, let me start trading. Your brain, your mind is cluttered and it will affect your trades. It will affect how you view the market. It'll make you probably more impulsive or maybe a little bit more hesitant and you're missing great entries. So when it comes to trading, it is literally 90% mental. Secondly, you want to be in a comfortable environment. Comfortable environment. An environment where you're relaxed, you're calm. I know for me, when I like to trade, I like my AC blasting. I like a nice instrumental track in the background. Usually when I trade by myself, I have my glass of Pinot Noir right alongside with me, especially because I trade in the evening. So, not happening in the mornings. That I like to set myself up to have a very comfortable environment when I trade. Third, you want to be calm and positive. If you're negative, if you're stressed, if you're going through, I don't know, like a breakup, if you just lost your job, like if you're going through something that is going to trigger your emotions where you're not able to think clearly or you're going to be distracted, do not trade. Do not trade. You want to be almost neutral. You want to be in a place where you're calm and collected and you want to be positive. Or this I got from Millie Mills, who's literally the top HFX educator, that she views the market as if she is literally going to war. That's why she refers to herself as as a sniper, because she is literally taking the trades that are going to kill the market. She views it so neutral and so matter of factly that it helps her limit her emotional reactions to the market. The biggest thing that takes traders out is literally emotions. Lastly, especially for my HFX traders and my indices scalpers like US 30, S&P 500, you want to have little distractions because you don't want to miss your entry. You don't want to take the wrong entry. You don't want to be looking on your phone, all of a sudden the market's going in the opposite direction and you miss your ability to roll over. So you want to have very minimal distractions. Yes, can you trade with other people? Yes, can you be on a live trading session and the chat, you know, be very, very active? Absolutely. But even for you yourself, it is your money. It is your account. that you want to make sure that you have very little to no distractions. Now, getting into some concrete specifics about trading. There's such a thing as over trading, where you trade for way too long, you cleared your 5%, you keep trading, and then you lose your 5% and then some. If that's happened to you, drop me a 111 in the chat. If you made your 5% and then you're like, oh, let me keep trading, one more trade, and then you start losing, drop me a 111 in the chat, right? So many of us, it's happened to me, right? That you wanna make sure that when you're trading and you are in the market, that you have consistency. You have consistency with the time that you're trading and with the sessions that you're trading. By session, I mean there's 4 sessions: London, Tokyo, Sydney, New York. 4 different sessions where different currency pairs are most volatile. Now, within each of these sessions, there's different times that you can trade. And for certain trading styles, different times affect your trades differently. So for example, if you're trading HFX, which is a very rapid trading style, if you're trading HFX, which is a very rapid trading style, you may want to skip on the market opening and the market closing. Because with the market opening, there's literally such a shift in direction that a lot of trades could be fake outs and you end up losing your trades. When the market is closing, you may not even find any entries. For my personal experience with HFX is I do best when I am trading mid-session versus if I'm scalping things like US 30. I do best when the market is opening, specifically New York. So depending as to what it is that you're trading, what trading style that you're doing, you want to pay close attention to which session or sessions you'll be trading, and then also where in the session you'll be trading. FRX usually works best in the mornings or late evenings. And usually you find a lot of big moves at the beginning of a session. HFX usually works best when the market is going a little bit more sideways. You can still find trends within a sideways market, but overall, because HFX is such a fast trading style, you might want to skip on session overlaps or market openings. Yes. Now, getting clear for your trading plan, your risk to reward. You want to get clarity before you even take a trade as to what your goal is, as to how much money you want to make, as to what your 5% is. You want to get clear before you take a trade how much you need to make to be successful with that trade. Also, you want to get clear as to what is your limit, meaning how much are you willing to risk? Is it 2%? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? The most common recommendation is 5% to 5%, meaning 5% loss, 5% gain. Some people do 2.5% loss, 5% gain. Depending as to your preference and your skill level, you get to choose what that will be for you. But you want to get clear before you even take a trade, because in that way, let's say if you meet your loss percentage, then you're more likely to be able to walk away from your trading that day or that session with way more ease than if you had no idea what your limits were and you're like, oh my God, I've lost $300. Let me try to make it back. Boom, your account is blown. Promise you, if you're not clear before getting into your sessions, you will not know how much you need to make and how much you need to stop if you're losing, right? Now, I'm gonna park here for a second. I say this all the time. Learning how to trade is literally like expanding your mind, especially because we see our relationship to money. We see how much we care about money. We see how much we don't care about money. We see how stressed out we get when we're taking a $5 trade, as if we don't spend $5 at Starbucks without even thinking about it. We literally see our relationship to money. So one thing that trading will do for you, if it hasn't already, is it'll teach you how to manage your emotions. Teach you how to manage your emotions. I remember when I first started trading HFX, I was just taking $1 trades. I was like, I don't know how this works. I was FRX all day long. And then everybody was getting into HFX, and I was like, let me see what's happening. I was taking like a $1 trade, and I was like, oh my God, I'm losing. And I was like, Pepz, you literally go out to eat, spending like at least like hundreds of dollars, not hundreds of dollars on one meal, but you know what I mean? Like spending so much money on food that isn't gonna pay me back. And here I am stressed out over losing $1 trade. Because the thing is, we're so conditioned on a day-to-day to spend money on things that do not serve us. But when it comes to learning a skill set, utilizing a vehicle that can really pay you what you want it to pay you, it's almost as if our brains don't even know how to react. And you want to be able to start managing your emotions, because if you're an emotional trader, you're more than likely going to blow your account. Which brings me to my next point. What helped me become profitable and just become better educated with trading was treating this as if I was hired by somebody else to grow this account. As if I was hired to make this $250 account, this $500 account, this $100 account to 7 figures within 2 years. So whenever I lose, I'm like, okay, we have 2 options. I'm like, we got to stop and take a break and maybe try trading later when we're more clear, or we got to stop, figure out what we're doing wrong, because I have a job to do. My job is to win, and there is no way I'm not going to meet my deadline of making 7 figures within 2 years, because that is what I've been hired to do. Treat this as if you are somebody's employee. And a lot of us, especially with something like trading, or if you're building the business, don't do all the work that we can do because we're literally managing ourselves. And most of us, going back to conditioning, we're conditioned to spend our money on things that don't serve us, but many of us are conditioned to follow direction from other people, not from ourselves. So treat this as if you've been employed to grow your account. Third thing, and this is huge, just because you win a trade from being impulsive doesn't mean it was a good trade. There's been so many trades that I'm like, you know what? I'm over it, sell. And I'm like, oh, it cleared. Or I'm like, you know what? Double up, roll over. I'm like, oh my God, thank God I rolled over. And then I'll think about it and I'm like, there was no logic behind that. There was no reasoning for me to take those actions. Just because I felt like it, because I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Let me do something that could be potentially worse. Just because you cleared a trade from being impulsive doesn't mean it was a good trade. Last thing, and this is for all of us. And when I tell you, I know 6-7 figure traders who still fall victim to number 4. It's not about how it feels, it's about how it looks. Yes, there's such thing as sentimental analysis, but sentimental analysis is actually based on logic. Meaning you can look at as to how many red and blue candles are and seeing that there's more red candles, and that's telling you the sentiment of the market. There's actually like a logic behind sentimental analysis. Sentimental analysis is not like, oh, I feel like it's gonna go up because I looked at the chart for all of 2 seconds. No. It's not about how it feels, it's about how it looks. Like you wanna look at the market, and the more that you look at the market and you get in tune and you find the rhythm of your session and of your peers, you'll be able to more quickly look at a market and see with more ease and with much more clarity how your trades are going to work out. So you want to get clear as to these 4 points about managing your emotions, treating this as if you've been hired to grow this account, not being impulsive, which trust and believe so many people who are so profitable still struggle with this, but you want to get more and more disciplined with being less impulsive, because even though it'll happen time and time again, the less impulsive you are, the more likely you are to win. And just to repeat, it is not about how it feels, it's about how it looks. Now, getting into the main point of this session, your trading journal. One thing that we say all the time is treat this as a business. If you treat this like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. Your trading journal goes hand in hand with your trading plan. Your trading journal is the equivalent of the books for a business. You know, your tax returns, your statements, your bank statements. Your trading journal should compile a lot of good data for you to be able to review at the end of each session, at the end of each week, at the end of each quarter, for you to see what worked, what didn't, what shifted that led to these losses, what shifted that led to me finally winning, what shifted within my mindset that allowed me to think more clearly. Like, your trading journal is massive. I'll give you a personal story. I was doing so great from January up until like second to last week of March. And thankfully, I've had my trading journal, and I forgot that I switched my trading session, but I was like, literally forgot, but I wrote it down, like which session, what time I was trading. And from January through the first 2 weeks of March, I traded 10 p.m. PST to about 11:30 PST, hour and a half. Last 2.5 weeks of March, it was like 11:30 PST, 11:30 p.m. PST to about 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. PST time. And I was realizing, I was like, yo, I'm losing a lot of my trades during this time. I was like, I'm trading the same. I was like, I'm getting more agitated now that I'm losing. I was like, I'm taking riskier trades now that I'm losing. So I was looking at myself like, what like impacted my trades? And when I realized that it was probably the time, I was like, well, let me look into this time frame that I'm trading. And I asked Mike Brown, who's a great trader, and Mike was like, that's probably one of the worst times to trade. Like, not even worst sessions, just one of the worst times, because that's literally one of the biggest shifts in directions of the market. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, good thing I notated what times I traded when I was doing the best, when I was doing the worst, because if I didn't notate that, I would still probably be trading 11:30 p.m. PST till like 1:30, trying to figure it out, how to win a very difficult trading time. So you want to get clear and utilize your trading journal, because if you change something and it leads to a positive or a negative outcome, you want to see what that change was. You want to see what that change was and what it led to. Because if it led to something positive, keep it. If it led to something negative, then it's like, all right, now that I know this time zone, this time frame doesn't work for me, let me go back to what was working. Or let me go back and find something different that could potentially work best. So your trading journal is for you to document feedback information. And things that you want to include in your trading journal is 5 things, or five purposes of a trading journal. First is you want to identify your weaknesses. Secondly, you want to identify your good and bad habits. Third, your good behavior. It's a little bit different than the habits, but I'll get into that later. Fourth is you want to change your actions from destructive to constructive. Fifth is mostly like the review, but you want to highlight your weaknesses. You don't just want to identify them, you want to highlight them. So a weakness that I mentioned before is being impulsive. Another weakness could be that you're trading sporadically. You don't have any consistency. You're trading whenever you feel like you have the time. A weakness could be you're in a bad mood and you're like, well, let me try to feel better by trading, and then you blow your account. But if you review what is your biggest weakness, that is the one main thing that you should tackle. At the very beginning for me, it was this lack of skill. I was like, I can use the scanners, I can copy and paste trades, but I was like, I don't know how to trade by myself. So whenever I would trade by myself, I would lose. So my biggest weakness at the time that I highlighted was lack of skill. So I made it a point for literally 3 months, kid you not, it was from like October through December, where my primary focus was just studying. I was taking trades, but I was just studying. I remember having a one-on-one with Manny where he was finally teaching me one of his personal strategies. And then he created his market mastery bootcamp, which if you have not gone through it yourself, you should. That all I did, I was like, well, if my weakness is lack of knowledge, lack of skill, let me study. Once I got past that, I identified that my worst behavior was me being impulsive. In life, generally, I'm pretty organized, but there's a big side of me that's very impulsive that sometimes I'm like, you know what, enter. And people are like, why did you enter that trade? And I'm like, I don't know, I just felt like it. And one thing that trading will teach you is that the way you trade has to do with how you actually do life. And personally, I'm very impulsive in life. I'm like, I don't feel like doing that, so I won't. I feel like doing this, so I will. And it may not be the best time. It could be a bad idea, but because I felt like doing it, I naturally many times would do it. That if you start identifying your good and bad habits, you'll also be able to relate it to other areas of your life. And if you start working on one habit, one bad habit in one area, it'll trickle down into other areas of your life. Promise you. Now, this is part of mindset, but there's a few things, and if you're taking notes, please write this down. Your trading journal is your running list of gains and losses. You want to see how many trades you're winning, how many trades you're losing. You want to keep records, like detailed records of your trades. I'll get into that later, but you want to keep detailed records of your trades. You want to keep records of the knowledge gained and needed. Meaning, once I went through Manny's Market Mastery Bootcamp, I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I have a good understanding, but I was like, what's next? And I was like, let me start understanding each indicator differently. Let me start understanding how to mark up SRTs differently. Because the more that you know of one subject, or excuse me, or of one trading style, the better you'll be with that one trading style. I say this all the time in my sessions. You only realistically need to know one trading strategy, one trading style, one trading session to be successful. If one of those changes, you almost have to relearn everything. Because if you learn a new strategy, then you need to learn how to apply it to different market conditions. If you start trading a different time zone, a different session, that is a different market where different things are stronger, different things are weaker. So if you even just change one thing, you have to learn everything about what it is that you're changing. Next, you want to be consistent with your trading journal. We'll literally start a trading journal for like all of 2 weeks. And then we're expected to be 7-figure traders. We'll follow the compound plan for all of a month. And then month 2, 3, 4, there's like no record of that compound plan anywhere to be found. That you want to be consistent with your trading journal. You want to treat this as if you are literally the CEO and the employee of that company to be successful. Because the thing is, you're not getting a W-2. Literally, nobody's going to hire you or fire you. Only you can do that. Your payout is going to be the growth of your account, or it's going to be your account getting blown, or you losing consistently. That you are literally responsible for your trades. You are responsible for the growth of your account. It's not your upline. It's not me. It's not Ness. It's not Mike Brown. It's not Tia. It's not IM Academy. Like, you are responsible for your trading. A lot of great educators, a lot of great scanners, a lot of great information is available to all of us via this platform. Yes, people win because they take it seriously. They treat it with consistency. They treat it with the actual respect that it requires, versus where people lose is because they don't own their trading journey. They don't own their skill set. They don't own what they need to learn. And if you don't have any ownership, you won't have any success. Without ownership, there cannot be any success. So you want to literally view this trading journal. And that's why I'm starting this bootcamp with a trading plan and a trading journal, because I want you guys to win. You guys will only win if you treat it as if it is literally your company. Next, I said this before, only recording numbers has minimal impact on improving your trading performance. Meaning if you're just like 1-3 trades, lost 1, 1-4, lost 3, that is such a superficial trading journal that it's like, the only thing I can think from that is that I win more than I lose, but it's like, how can I win even more and lose even less? Like, only keeping track of how many trades you win or lose is such a very superficial trading journal that it will not help you. The main point of your trading journal is to identify your best trades from your losing trades. And that is literally due to identifying your weaknesses. That is due to you identifying what it is that you're not good at. That is due to you getting clear as to like, you know what, I'm actually just a very emotional person when I trade. For whatever reason, I view this $5 trade way more different than I view me going to 7-Eleven spending $10 on something that I don't even care about. You want to start seeing what it is that you're actually attached to that is affecting your trades, because most of trading is mental. If you can't believe that you'll be able to make 6 or 7 figures from trading, you're probably going to blow your account. If you can't believe that you're going to be able to clear 3-figure trades in a few minutes, you won't. And if you do, psychologically, you're probably going to sabotage that and start losing trades. It's literally psychology. Like, this whole session is about psychology. Now you want to get clear as to what it is that you're really good at, what it is that you're not so good at. And also, a lot of people don't focus on what they're not good at. And those are the things that will undo your success. Not keeping track, not attending to what it is that you need help in or development in is going to undo your success. So you want to take this portion of this bootcamp so serious. And at the end of the session, if you don't have a trading journal already, by tomorrow, get one. Because one thing that I'm going to start implementing for this bootcamp is submitting your trading journal at the end of the week. And I'm not going to ask for like 1,000,001 pages, but like a summary. Like, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about your trades that won? What did you see about the trades that didn't win? Like, part of this bootcamp is going to require you for you to submit your trading journal before each Monday. And just a summary, because I know some people are going to try to send me their whole trading journal. Just a summary of what it is that you learned about your trades and how you can do better for the next week. Because if you don't reflect and review what's working, what's not working, you're going to be in the same boat and you don't even know where the boat is going to be going. Now, going into weaknesses. In my opinion, there's 3 main weaknesses: rushing your trades, being overly emotional, and lack of skill. By rushing your trades, sometimes it is due to being emotional, but sometimes, and I've seen this a lot, is people look at the chart for all of 2 minutes and they're like, oh, I know where the market is going, loss. They're like, how'd that happen? And it's like, well, you would have taken the extra 10 minutes to like readjust your trend lines, add maybe a new support level, you would have seen that the old chart that you had was no longer relevant to your trades, that you rushed your trades, therefore you lost. Emotions, this is massive. This is massive. I had this conversation with one of my good friends when I first got started with trading, and I told her, I was like, I don't know what it was. I was like, but I think this conversation that I had with somebody just put me in a bad mood, and then I lost. I remember almost blowing my account when he was 30. And she was like, yeah, if you're emotional, if you're not feeling positive, like just don't even look at your laptop. Don't even look at your MT4 or your race options or your bit of Forex, because what happens when we get too emotional, we don't think clearly, we react either way too clearly or we don't act at all, that we either miss trades or we take the wrong trades and then we lose. The thing about emotions with trading, because trading is already an emotional trigger where you can see like how much money you can make and you get excited because you're getting this much closer to your dreams, or you're seeing how much money you're losing, you're like, damn, I'll never get there. Trading is already an emotional roller coaster. But if you go into a trading session already emotionally charged up, you are probably not clear-headed enough to take the right trades. So if you cannot manage your emotions, or if your emotions are currently getting the best of you, do not trade. Maybe study, maybe go for a walk. But if you're overly emotional and if you're getting overly stressed out with your trades, then that is feedback for you to start working on your emotional intelligence. A really great book is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. But a big weakness for traders is your emotions. Thankfully, when I was in that losing streak of these 2 weeks ago, I was so cool about it. I was like, you know what? I was like, it's fine. I was like, I'm gonna figure out what wasn't working. I'm gonna go back to studying. I want to see what it is that I need to change, what I need to work on, so then I can recuperate my losses. A year ago, I would have been like, sell, clear, sell, and lose my trades. Promise you. But it is a journey. The only reason I was able to get to this place of trading where I wasn't emotional about it or as emotional about it is going through the journey of going up and down, up and down, up and down, but also working on my emotional fortitude. Third weakness, lack of skill. Lack of skill is massive. Personally, I don't think trading or finding a trading style that works is too difficult. But you want to master the skill. You want to master where that strategy comes from. You want to master the best way of marking up your charts based on your strategy. Lack of skill is so huge because essentially what many of us are asking for is financial freedom. We're asking for a really big ticket. Some of us are looking at this as a way to get out of debt. Some of us are looking at this as a way to retire our parents. Some of us are looking at this as a way of getting out of a job that you hate. And that is a big ticket. I don't just mean financially, but a big ticket that you're going to have to pay for from yourself, because that is going to require you to become kind of like emotionally cool. Become the sniper that Millie channels. Literally, Millie told me she literally pretends she's playing like a war game and her job is to win. And for her to win, she was like, you know what? I can't be emotional about this. I can't be emotional about the charts going crazy because then she'll take the wrong trades. You also want to be able to get to the point where you're like, this is my goal for the quarter, which we'll get into in a second. This is how much money I need to make. I'm actually behind 2 weeks. What can I do to get ahead? You want to look at this strategically. You want to look at this as if it's a business. You want to look at this as not just your ticket for what you want, but as the vehicle that you've been employed to really, really maximize. And a lot of that has to do with being disciplined. Discipline is the key to everything. On my screen, you'll see the definition: the practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior using punishment to correct disobedience. The punishment here isn't just blowing your account or losing your trades. The punishment here is, it's been a year, all I've done is broke even. It's been a year and I'm still not anywhere closer to my dreams. Oh my God, I'm trying to retire my mom, but I don't trade consistently enough. I don't take the right trades. I don't study enough. I don't do A, B, C, and D. I don't have a trading journal. I don't even have a notebook for a trading journal. If you don't have the discipline to trade consistently, which to be honest, most professional traders only really trade 4 hours out of the week. Some maybe a little bit more. Some trade all day, yes, but you don't need to trade all day every day to become a six-figure trader. You really don't. But what you do need is discipline. You want to be disciplined enough that if you only do 4 hours of live trading, that by the end of that fourth hour, you're like, wow, I tripled my account. Wow, it's only been 4 months. Now I'm up 5 figures. You want to be so disciplined that you also get to the point that, wow, I've lost only 10%, but overall for the quarter, I'm up 60%. That's where I'm at right now. It's like, wow, it's like, I'm up 60% and I'm ahead of schedule and I've only lost 10%. I mean, those numbers don't add up, sorry. I'm up 90%, but I've only lost 10% and I'm way ahead of schedule. Like, that's where you want to get to. That's why discipline is so important. That's why going through your trading journal for you to see what it is that works, what it is that doesn't work is so critical for you to becoming a profitable trader. If you don't have discipline, you're going to experience high stress, blown accounts, breaking even, and then more than likely you're going to quit. And unfortunately, winners never quit and quitters never win. If you have poor discipline, this is what's going to be in store for you. So you want to make sure that when you start creating your trading plan, getting clear as to your sessions, the time within that session, how much you're willing to risk, what your 5% increase looks like, what your trading strategy is going to be, and then tracking your trades from what works, what doesn't work, what are my confirmations. Like, you want to get super, super clear as to what it is that you're tracking, because again, it is not about how it feels, it's about how it looks. And what it's going to look like if you are disciplined, if you are consistent, if you have your trading journal, is success. Now, what goes into your trading journal? Please write this down or take a screenshot. Your entries, not just your, like, the number that you entered at, but like, what was your setup? What were your confirmations for your entries? Like, get detailed and specific about your entries. What is your time that you're trading? What is your trading session? What pairs are you trading? For my Forex traders, your take profit versus your stop loss, your risk to reward. That way you can see, maybe you need a bigger stop loss. Maybe you need a bigger take profit because every time you call a trade, it goes to the moon, but you're only catching 10% of that movement. Like, you want to get clear as to what are your parameters. Why did you get into the trade? What were your confirmations? What were you looking at that made you decide to take that trade? And sometimes you have no confirmations, which is fine depending on what it is. It could be you are, on the go live sessions and they're telling you to buy here, sell here. And you're like, you know what? These are 6-7 figure educators. They're my confirmation. But you want to at least have a confirmation written down for your trades. If your confirmation is like, I felt like it, I panicked, so I entered, that is not a confirmation you want to keep having. Next, your outcome. Did you win your trade? Did you lose your trade? Your feelings before, during, and after. What did you feel before your trade? Were you calm? Were you cool? Were you upset? Were you distracted? When you took your 1 minute trade of $1,000 and you're like, oh my God, my heart is beating out my chest. That's an emotion. Next, what did you feel after? And this applies for both winning and losing trades. What are your trading rules? A big trading rule of mine that has saved me is if I've lost my 5% and I want to keep trading, I stop and I'll trade on a different session. I don't keep trading past my 5%. A trading rule could be if I missed my trading window, if my trading window is 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. PST, I do not trade it because I definitely did that for 2 weeks and I was like, oh, this trading window is not it for me. That I was like, you know what, let's just get even more specific with our trading rules. That if I miss my trading window, and that is the only window I've been trading for 3 months, that is the only window that I know how to trade right now. That I will not trade until I understand how to trade within a different trading window. Record everything. If your phone was going off, if you were listening to crazy music, if your neighbors are loud, like literally record everything that influenced your trading. This is kind of going off confirmations, but sometimes what influenced you to take the trade could have been that you were bored and you're waiting for a trade. It's been 40 minutes, you haven't found a trade that you were like, you know what, let me just take it. FOMO, peer pressure, like what influenced you to take that trade? This is huge. How could I have taken a better trade for the future? Even if I won that trade, what could have made that trade better? Even if you took an impulsive trade that cleared, what could have made it better in the future was you waiting for a trade that had logic and confirmations. Last two things. What is working for you and what is not working for you? Is this session working for me? Is this strategy working for me? Is this educator working for me? Is this educator not working for me? Is this trading time zone that my friends want to do with me working for me? Does trading with the group help me or hinder me? Like what works for you and what doesn't work for you? I know for me personally, especially when I trade HFX or I'm scalping indices, I will not trade with anybody. I love everybody down. I'm so cool with a lot of people, but whenever I'm scalping the markets, I have to be by myself because I cannot get distracted. For some people, complete opposite. But I know what works for me because I've tracked it. Now, for you guys, especially as we begin Q2 of 2021, and want to start seeing those accounts grow from 5, 6, 7 figures, yes, you want to start getting really, really clear as to what it is that is working for you. And if you've been trading, let's say for a year, and you're like, wow, I'm still only at break even, that is okay. But what I offer up that you do from this point forward is take it so serious to the point that you go past breaking even and that you get what you came to get. Like that you go from your account isn't where you want it to be, get over it. Stop being emotional about it. Get better, get to work, and learn something. Because if you're gonna stay in the same place, that is a choice. Now, for all of us on here, myself included, we have to view this as if it has nothing to do with us. It is for us, yes, we all enrolled, we're all paying our tuition, but we have to view this as if we have a job to do, and that job is to win. So that eventually that dream that you have, that reason why you're actually trading, that reason why you actually want that 6, 7 figure trading account comes to fruition. Yes. So you want to start viewing this as if it has nothing to do with you. You want to be cool, calm, and collected. You want to be emotionally stable. You want to be highly skilled, because the higher the skill, the higher the check. The more that you know, the more that you learn, the more that you'll earn. And just to quickly wrap this up, why a trading journal is so important. And I've mentioned this throughout the session. is getting into things like a losing streak or a winning streak. You want to find the reason why. I'm so glad that I had my trading journal to see like clearly that time zone, that time frame does not work for me. Let me see what it is about that time zone that maybe I don't know. And then in a quick conversation with Mike Brown, I learned something new, and I was like, "Oh, shoot! I had no idea that that's what it was." You know, if you take an L, a loss, how do you feel after you lose? Are you more hesitant? Are you angry? Are you clear-headed? Are you desperate? Like, assess yourself. See how you feel after you lose. Also, I didn't write this down, but see how you feel after you win. Because sometimes if we're winning, you're like, I got this, until you don't. So you want to assess how it is that you feel after each trade, especially after you lose. Now, for your winning trades, you want to find the secrets of the winning trades to develop consistency. Once I assessed my trading journal for quarter one, I was like, okay, that time frame works really, really well. For whatever reason, every time I mark up my charts before each trading session, I do best. Maybe I'll just get into the habit of every single trading session, I'll remark up my charts because that works for me. So for your winning trades, you want to see what it is about those trades in specific that is working for you to develop consistency. Now, once you've assessed your wins and your losses, use that information to create your trading rules. I've shared two of mine with you guys. A trading rule could also be, I will only take trades that have 5 confirmations. So you want to use your trading journal to formulate your trading rules. And also, super important, review this journal weekly. Especially for new traders, you want to review your journal weekly. That way you're understanding your progress. That way you're seeing what you need to change. That way you're not waiting months down the line and your account isn't where you want it to be, or you've had to refund your account 4 times. Like, you want to review this journal so you can actually get the feedback that the market is telling you that you need to learn to get better. Because if you don't learn the lesson, you repeat that lesson over and over and over and over and over again. Now, just to wrap this up, this is a quote from Kim Torres. She is a great trader, and she says this: most traders fail because of the psychological aspect. It is truly a mind game. If you can master your mind, which will affect your emotions, which will affect the physical aspects of what you do, there is no reason for you to not have the account that you want. There will be no reason for you to not see the success that you want. You want to get to the point where you're so knowledgeable about yourself as a trader. You want to get to the point where you're like, these are my trading rules, I will not break them. Because another thing that influenced that weird losing streak that I had is I had a conversation with an educator, and this person was like, you're so conservative, like, trade from abundance, and let go of the 1% trading like rule that you have for your trades. And I was like, oh my God, you're so right. And 2 things happened. Well, I learned 2 things. One thing happened, which is I lost, but 2 things that I learned. One, I learned what I felt like to take risky trades, because I was always very by the book. I never knew what it felt like to take risky trades. So in taking those riskier trades, I got so desensitized to seeing money go up and down that I was like, wow, money is literally just a frequency. So I learned that abundance isn't so much about like putting everything on the line, but that abundance for me is tapping into a frequency where I'm so detached to the money. Because one thing that I saw is like, as quickly as my account can go down is as quickly as it can go up if I know what I'm doing. So I learned what abundance actually was. Second thing that I learned is the importance of me sticking to my trading journal, to my trading plan, to my trading rules. Because when I was taking those riskier trades, I wasn't comfortable. I was like, well, not at first. After a while, I was like, let's go in, 3 figures, no problem. But at first, I was like, wow, I still have this weird attachment to to this money that realistically I'm not really actually utilizing all day every day, right? Because to me, I view my trading account as this almost like a treasure chest that I am utilizing. Well, I have multiple trading accounts, but this trading account in specific that I'm referencing is an account that I am not touching. So I was like, why am I so stressed about something that I'm not even actually utilizing right now? So I was able to see from this higher level of Pepz that I still have a certain attachment to money. So going through that journey taught me that I was like, this is what abundance actually is. Getting desensitized to the number. Like it's not about the dollar amount, it's about the percentage. So getting desensitized to the number and understanding that it is all a frequency. Understanding that if I can really master my mind and master my emotions, I'm probably gonna win most of my trades. So as we wrap this up, which we are in all of 2 seconds, if anything, is that you want to get into the habit of getting yourself to a place psychologically where you're viewing trading as either a job or a game, something that shouldn't trigger your emotions so much, because emotions uncontrolled will undo you. But I'm going to go ahead and end this session, and I will see you guys next Monday, 8 p.m. PST, 11 p.m. Eastern. It is going to be 3 more Mondays. Next week, we're going to do market structure down. So we'll get into actual charting. But on that note, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll talk to you guys soon. And please, 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 in advance of next Monday, have a summary of your trading journal. And I'm thinking of creating a Telegram for the Traders Bootcamp so you can send in your trading journal summary in that. That way you will get your homework done. But on that note, guys, take care. I'll talk to you guys soon and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye, guys.